The NBA hoops rumor mill is starting to churn and is going to churn all offseason long because the names like Kevin Durant, Dwight Howard, Al Horford, Paul George, the NBA draft, the Lakers picks have all started to circulate the news all alongside coaching hires that have been going on, which I know a couple people mentioned. Tibbs to the Wolves, great pickup for them. The Knicks have interviewed Frank Vogel and Jeff Hornacek, which is the best news at least in my world. And a few other. Nate McMillan signed a deal as well. So things are moving outside the NBA playoffs, and we're going to discuss a little bit with Andre Snellings, who's here as well. And let's start actually with one of the playoff superstars, and that's Kevin Durant, because here's what the consensus of the written media is, at least online, from what you see on a daily basis. They're claiming that if Durant lost to the Spurs and they got bounced in 4 games, Durant's gone. He's walking. Screw the Thunder. I'm done. I'm moving on. But they beat the Spurs, and now they're in the conference finals, and they have a shot at beating the Warriors. How many other teams could you go to outside really maybe the Warriors or the Spurs that have a better chance of winning a championship if you're Kevin Durant? Andre, do you think the outcome of this series decides Durant's future? I know that's a loaded question, by the way.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's a fair question because I think I would agree with that. I felt like during that Spurs series, especially when I thought the Spurs were going to win, that if I try to put myself in Kevin Durant's mindset, he's like, look, we've been right there for the last 5 or 6 years.
Yep.
Had the same core group of people after they let Harden go, which I still don't understand. But they have the same core group of players. And it just seemed like they had reached their ceiling. They instead of after that 2012 run to the finals with Harden, they were an upper 50s win team that wasn't going to make a lot of noise in the playoffs. And so had they gone out in the second round this year and been clearly behind both the Spurs and the Warriors, I could have seen Durant say, you know what, let me go somewhere else and just see what happens. Maybe try to get a better fit. After the way that they dealt with the Spurs, now I think all eyes are on this series. If the Warriors come out and sweep them, then I think that might maybe make him think a bit more. But if it's a series or if the Thunder win it, then it starts getting harder to justify moving on when you're obviously on a team that has the talent to go as far as you can take them.
It's also a near $75 million difference if he pulls a LeBron and signs a 1-year deal with the Thunder, because of how the cap space and what the projected cap space is and the veteran status in the NBA. The 1-year deal, which you'll see in front of your screen, we're going to add in post for everybody, the 1-year deal with the Thunder with an opt-out for a second-year player option, I should say, for the second year, would see almost a $75 million difference in salary. So that has to be kept in mind because the Thunder can offer him more money right now. Any other team is about $20 million less. But, again, as you mentioned, it could really depend on the outcome of this series because a sweep or something like that might say, I'm going to go to a team that I think has a better shot at winning the finals. But if you go to the finals, well, then you took down everybody in the West who has a better shot at winning the finals than you, and we're even counting out, what if they win the finals? All that's good stuff. But Al Horford, to change gears real quick and go to a different conference, in the Eastern Conference, very portable guy, as you've mentioned many times before. Maybe not the A-plus superstar. You put him on your team, you're contending for a top 2 seed, but you add him with some other guys, cough Celtics, cough Clippers, cough sign-in trades. Like all these things can come up. Al Horford's a guy that can fit into a million different systems in the NBA. Do you have any thoughts as to where he would land or what would be the best fit?
Yeah, I mean, you while you had your cold, you mentioned a couple of cough teams. But I mean, I think the Celtics is the obvious one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think many people expected them to be as good as they were this year, but they were. And really the only area of weakness they had was in the middle. So, you take a team, it's a young team, it's a scrappy team, they've got a good coach, they have a good history, it just seems like that would make sense as a place for Horford to go. The Clippers, I don't, unless they're going to get rid of either Blake Griffin or DeAndre Jordan, I don't really see him, fitting there. And Doc Rivers keeps, yelling at anybody that'll listen that he's not getting rid of any of his current big three. So, yeah, to me, I would say the Celtics would have to be the leader in the clubhouse.
Love how you put that. If anybody who's willing to listen, you have Doc Rivers screaming from the
I
Capitol.
wish I could do a Doc Rivers imitation. I'm not hoarse enough.
We need Jamie.
Hey,
we need Jamie Foxx here to do it. There it is. It's not on Blake.
It's not on Blake. It's not on Blake.
Oh man, who's he gonna blame? Who's? That's to me the big thing is who's Doc Rivers gonna not blame for losses if Blake actually goes? It's not on Al. It's not on Horford. He's got to replace it with somebody. You know what's amazing? If Horford went to the Celtics, I think because of how creative and smart Horford could be, he can actually make Isaiah Thomas disappear. He'd just be gone. You don't even know he's there. Right at the rim.
Until he comes back out to score the bucket.
Right, exactly. You'd be like, wait, what the hell just happened? You watch him on the Gamecast, or you watch him live, and you're just like, hold on, where'd Isaiah Thomas? Oh, there he is. Found him. Okay. Make sure. Yep. They have to highlight him to make sure we can see him at all times. All right, there's a couple more big names. One, DeMar DeRozan, who has either shot himself out of an enormous contract or shot himself into an enormous contract. We don't know which one that will be. The biggest rumor, the biggest leading rumor, I'd say, is, well, he's a Los Angeles guy. He's a Laker fan. He's dying to wear the purple and gold. But the purple and gold aren't in the conference finals. The purple and black? Purple and white?
Yeah.
Purple, red, and white are in the conference finals. So to me, it's either the Lakers or a re-signing with the Raptors. I'm not sure. I'm sure other teams are going to throw money at him, but those would seem like the two likely possibilities.
Yeah, those would be the kind of the two chalk picks. Honestly, though, more than the Lakers, because not only are the Lakers not in the conference finals, but they've spent the last 2 years stockpiling wings and point guards that score. So I don't know that he would be a fit there with what they're trying to do anyway. But so instead of the Lakers, I actually look more at the Clippers. I don't know that they have the space that he's looking for, to be able to sign him. But I mean, they're a team that were 2 injuries away from potentially being in the conference finals. And, they don't have a dominant scoring wing. So maybe the lane is open if he wants to go back to LA, but actually play for a team that has a chance to win.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point as well. It's just someone has to hammer into his head shot selection. That's all. And if you miss open shots, I don't know what to tell the guy. I mean, look, there's a lot of shooting guards in the NBA that are that can be inconsistent. But man, I still see it as DeMar DeRozan is J.R. Smith in many ways. So many different ways.
J.R. Smith with more shot opportunities.
But I was going to say, first of all, to score, you got to shoot some more. That's the J.R. Smith mantra. And then lastly, to kind of wrap this one up, another enormous name that's not on the free agent market, but is definitely going to be up there in trade considerations with every team in the league, and that's Paul George. Someone I've called top 10 player in the league while healthy, although he does have a slight turnover problem at his position. At least the numbers will back that up. But Paul George is a game-changing player. He's been a major part of leading that Pacers team, and you see what happens when he's healthy with the Pacers. They win games, and they take series to 7 games like they did. And with Frank Vogel exiting and Nate McMillan coming in, and we don't know really what is on the mind of Pacers general management, but you can get a lot for Paul George. You can get draft picks, you can get role players, you can get young pieces. The Clippers seem like a team that Paul George would go to, right? And they've been in the center of all these trade talks. But it's not just the Clippers to me. I think the Hawks are a team that could use Paul George in a million different ways. Is there any, when it comes to the Clippers, how does that even come to be? And what teams really need Paul George?
Yeah, I mean, so it's funny in a lot of ways. He's like the anti DeMar DeRozan,
Right.
But I mean, but they're similar in that they're both California boys, right? He's from Fresno, so you could imagine he might want to go play for one of the home teams, be it to step into a potential championship opportunity with the Clippers, or to try to become the new face of LA for the Lakers. As opposed to DeRozan, George actually has a diverse game, and he's a small forward, which means that him being there doesn't mean that the D'Angelo Russell experiment is over. So, I could see him going to either place. As far as who needs him, everybody needs him. I mean,
Yeah.
we saw this year, your Kawhi Leonards, your Draymond Greens, your when he was healthy, your Jimmy Butlers, the kind of 6'6" to 6'8" wing that can do everything is on everybody's hit list right now. That's gold in today's NBA, and that's what Paul George is. So I think you mentioned earlier the salary cap, the kind of unique year where everyone is going to almost have cap room and the ability to offer max deals, to a guy like George, who really might be, he's one of the few max caliber type players out there. I would think he's going to have a good summer one way or the other.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I like how you put it that way, too. There's really only, in my opinion, 15 guys in the league that are max contract players that you put all of the money in the franchise into. But that's not how it works. 80 guys get max contracts, it seems like. Could you imagine, though, right before we wrap this up, a team with D'Angelo Russell and Paul George, both of which have not been the kindest in the locker room to their teammates' significant others?
Yeah. Enter that locker room at your own risk. Don't tell any secrets unless you've ascertained where every phone and camera in the room is. And, just have thick skin.
I don't think hide your kids, hide your wife has ever been more appropriate than in that locker room, man. All right,
I wanted to hear you sing that.
I love the remix. All right, comment below with what you guys think. There's a lot of names on the market. It's going to be an emphatic summer. And there's Team USA basketball. So guys are going to be finding out what their contracts are going while they're in Brazil. Hopefully not getting the Zika virus. Stay safe. Make sure to follow Andre at Professor DRZ on Twitter. Check out rotowire.com for the Hoops blog and all that good stuff as well. You know where TYT Sports is. Everything's in the description box. Follow the links, and we'll see you there.